everybody, to another edition of Legally Insane! I'm Matt Ritter, and with me as always,
Tony Sam.
we are your co-hosts.
Oh, I love that word.
He didn't like the way I was saying it before, so now we're giving it more egalitarian.
You ballbuster!
Yeah,
You sold me out 3 seconds into the podcast.
He doesn't like being in the sidecar.
I'll kill you!
He doesn't want to be the sideshow Bob.
Joining me as always as my sidekick, my dancing chimp.
No, you're co-equal.
Well, for our listeners, you won't know this, but both of us have been traveling.
Yeah, because this podcast could air months after we've been traveling.
Right. So this is the first time we've seen each other in a couple weeks.
We miss each other.
And we're just glad that you're here.
Yeah, to listen to crazy legal stories.
Right.
Because I'm a lawyer turned comedian.
And I'm just a comedian. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And I learn right along with you.
Yeah.
Do we have to keep saying that? Do you guys get it by now?
They probably get it.
I feel like we've...
Should we just talk about our trip instead?
By the time you listen to this...
I saw animals. I saw lions. I saw a lion kill a zebra.
Oh, my God. I saw a lot of Sicilians eating cannoli.
You saw cannoli? I ate brain on my trip.
Lauren ate a spleen sandwich.
Which one do you think is...
I think they're equally disgusting. What kind of monkey brains?
A cow brain. I have to say, I think you get mad cow from that.
Yeah, that's...
No, veal brain. I'm sorry. No, veal is cow. Veal is cow.
Especially cow brains.
Right, and then I came back with E. coli.
So
I probably got E. coli from
prions
eating
in your brain.
Yeah, this is not good. And by the way, brains aren't tasty. I don't know why any of that stuff.
No, I saw Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Dr. Jones. Chilled monkey brains.
Oh, it's a delicacy. And they lift the head off.
I love when he goes, feels like step on fortune cookie.
They're bugs.
They're bugs.
Oh,
they're all
Dr.
bugs.
Jones!
They're bugs. You cheat. And that's what I felt like when I was in the jungle. Everything I stepped on in the Serengeti felt like.
My God. Well, it's good to have you back.
Good to have you back. I feel like our friendship almost got aborted from not seeing each other for a while.
No. I actually think it got stronger because we could tell when we first saw each other, we hugged and embraced for quite a while, and we really missed each other.
We did, but that was my segue.
Oh, I stupid.
Yeah, you totally missed it. You thought I was having a deep convo about our friendship. I'm talking about abortion laws.
That's your segue into
I said our friendship almost got aborted.
Oh, my God. That's your segue,
That's
you sicko?
Segue. That is a segue for the ages, I think. This is going to get two men talking, chit-chatting about abortion.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Let's mansplain abortion law. Everybody.
You know, it's been around for a long time, abortion.
You know, I feel like unwanted pregnancies are all the rage throughout time.
It's always been
because,
a thing.
Well, traditionally, or historically, I feel that men and women have cheated on their spouses. And then there's been a fourth party.
Fourth party.
Right,
not the cuckold. There's the cuckold.
Right. Then there's the child that's growing. Yeah. And most parties don't want, or at least one half of that party doesn't want it to see the light of day.
There's always been stuff, but they had different methods for.
How many you got under your belt?
Oh, I don't know if we want to go. I don't know if we want to.
Abort.
Well, let's abort this.
Shall we abort this topic?
We'll start with India. The Vedic and Smriti laws of India reflected a concern with preserving the male seed.
When is this? What time is this?
Oh, this is the 900s.
Okay, you just said let's go to India, but no one.
900s. Let's just say
900.
They were concerned
BCE.
BC, preserving the male seed of the 3 upper castes, and the religious courts imposed various penance for the woman or excommunication for priests who provided an abortion because, the upper caste, they want their seed to be spread.
What do you think an abortion consisted of back then?
Well, I can before I tell you what it consisted of. Let's see let's play a little game called Tony Guesses Prehistoric Abortion Methods.
Oh boy.
Okay, this is like a Family Feud.
All right,
ready? The category is ways they used to do abortions. The Sam family goes first.
All right, so I'm going to say a hot stick.
Hot stick? No, we're not going to accept hot stick. Tony's mom, would you like to guess?
Well, thank you, first of all, Matthew.
You ran out of time.
No way.
Tony's cousin, would you like to get
a hook.
Hook. Yeah, hook is correct.
All right, we're on the board.
Yeah.
All right. How about this? A punch to the stomach.
Punch to the stomach was also a method.
How many more do I get?
You guys have the Sam family. Congratulations! You guys win an all-expense-paid trip to an abortion clinic in Texas, the only one that's open.
Wait, so I guess the only two: a punch to the stomach and a hook?
No, there were a bunch of others.
What are the others?
So physical activity was a big one: climbing, paddling, weightlifting. Your favorite activity: diving.
Wait,
diving.
So they went to someone. And they said, all right, I got to do this procedure, but you got to help me move first. I'm moving this weekend. I prescribe you help me move. Yeah. There's pizza. I'll buy pizza for everybody.
Yeah,
but that's how we do it.
Yeah, the first people who had to do a little quid pro quo action.
I'll need you to put on this surgical moving outfit.
This surgical DHL truck.
I just have a few odd jobs. Let's get you this medical grade broom.
Medical grade broomstick.
And if that doesn't keep, we'll use the handle.
Others included the use of irritant leaves, fasting, bloodletting, pouring hot water on the abdomen, and lying on a heated coconut shell.
These were all come up with by men. We should probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
doctors.
Oh, doctor men.
Doctor men.
Mockers.
Yeah, mockers. Is that what we're calling fake doctors?
No. Male doctor.
Male doctor. Oh, I thought you were saying mock as in because there's.
No, I mean, it's all.
Yeah, because it's all bull. And then archaeological discoveries indicate some surgical attempts. Very infrequent. 8th century Sanskrit instructs women to sit over a pot of steam or stewed onions. Because,
onions always make me poop.
Yeah. I mean, onions make you cry, and then you just cry it out. No.
Oh, boy.
I don't know.
You don't know how babies work.
Yeah, I don't really.
They wouldn't stuff an onion up there?
Now, oof.
Just, yeah.
That's how you get
I'd prefer an onion in my hoo-ha than a punch to the gut.
No, you know what happens then? You just get a baby who comes out real salty.
Everybody smelled back then.
Yeah, everybody stank. There's no. Well, here's an interesting one: the technique of massage abortion, which was that's such a silly. Involved the application of pressure to pregnant
They would try and
abdomen.
push it out.
Yeah, I mean that's not really a massage if they're trying to jam your unborn child out of you.
I wonder, did it work?
I mean, probably. I mean, it doesn't really say the success. It doesn't really say the success rate.
The efficacy.
The efficacy, and then we've got Japanese documents recording abortions in the 12th century.
Well, they just used chopsticks.
Yeah, that's not what they did. That's not right.
They got a dragon.
That's right. It was a dragon-induced.
A samurai sword.
Oof. A little harikari.
Look, to our listeners, there's
nothing
a lot of
awful things
that we're going to say. And it's just because through history, people did awful things. It's not us.
Yeah. And then we get to the Greeks who were, they were a little more free-spirited.
A couple olives in there.
Yeah. Plato mentions it in the Theaetetus. The Theaetetus.
That's probably the way it's pronounced.
The
That's probably right.
Yeah, the Theaetetus. He mentions a midwife's ability to induce abortion. So it's been around. It's been around.
Shame. Is shaming? Is that one?
Just ringing that bell and making somebody.
Shame.
There were a lot of plant use. There was a lot of Brewster's yeast and pennyroyal tea. That was part of the.
They'd pour tea into it?
Yeah. Herbal remedies. Italian catnip. You had some of that while you were just in Italy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I assumed that all methods would revolve around a hot object.
Burning hot, poker to the stomach.
Just putting hot things into it.
But the interesting thing was that there was always sort of a line.
But the practice went around.
Yeah, it went around.
Were there any laws regarding it?
So that's what's interesting. The line between lawful and unlawful was something that eventually became called the Quickening.
I saw that. It's a Highlander movie.
Is that right? Highlander 2, The Quickening?
Yeah.
What happens?
Well,
there can be only one. So then he had to abort a Highlander child?
It's better to get burned out than to fade away. Wow, we're aging ourselves.
Yeah, nobody knows the Highlander.
See the Lambert? What's his
Christopher
name?
Lambert.
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
And Sean Connery.
Queen soundtrack.
And that bad guy, he's the best. I don't know that actor's
He's
name.
awesome.
We should get him on the podcast.
I sat next to that guy at a Clippers game once.
Did he have that scar on his neck from getting almost beheaded?
He wasn't really a Highlander.
So you're saying that guy hasn't almost been beheaded?
No. That's all makeup. It's all make-believe.
I have a hard time believing.
He's an actor. He's old now.
He still has that scar, though.
No. He didn't really get his head chopped off.
Yes, he did.
There can be only one.
Oh, man.
I still don't understand the point of it, but
I don't know.
We digress.
Why can there be only one? It's a big world. I think that movie explains everything that's wrong with the world.
Why set yourself a finite universe?
Yeah, there's more than one.
It got to end at some point.
What are you saying?
Well, if at the first movie he was supposed to be the last one, right?
Right.
And the Quickening was when you become the last one, you get all the knowledge and power of the universe. And then there's more.
Makes you wonder why it was called a Quickening when the Quickening is referred to the time where you start feeling a baby fetus.
Also, I feel like Mario Van Peebles was in this.
Yes, he was. He definitely was. He definitely was.
Well,
the
Quickening.
The casting director was like, who do I picture when I picture a Highlander?
Mario Van Peebles.
Hey, guys.
Is that your Mario Van Peebles?
No, this is a casting director. Hey, guys. I've got a little bit of an outside-of-the-box idea here.
I got a real hot baby script here, baby. I mean, it's hot, baby, smoking hot. But I need a big-name actor to bring this ship home, baby.
Well, we've got a limited budget, so you got to lower your expectations.
No, I need a superstar.
How about I get you somebody who's hot, who's now?
I need someone hip, hot, fresh. You know, someone cool on the scene.
But somebody who also screams, Highlander!
Yeah, what do you got?
Mario Van Peebles!
Yeah!
We were on the same wavelength. I can't believe we...
Superstar, yeah. A box office flop.
Floppity.
That one went straight to beta tape.
We did. We got sidetracked because of the Quickening. The Quickening is the thing. So let's talk about modern times. Let's talk about modern history in America, maybe.
We're just here talking about borts.
Yeah, let's talk about borts.
We're talking borts.
Bort shorts. I got my bort shorts on. I'm wearing bort shorts. Do you think any woman's ever said I'm wearing bort shorts? Ooh, this episode could be banned in the USA.
It's really inflammatory.
It's inflammatory.
I like that we've made it cute.
It's cute.
Because, men and women, I know the guy does, so hopefully he's experiencing some sort of mental anguish and or sympathy, but this is primarily the female has to go through this.
Yeah, it's brutal. The reason we do this podcast is to bring to light crazy aspects of our legal system. And the reason we're doing this specific podcast is because I find it outrageous, all of the restrictions that are being passed all over the country.
I think every episode we've determined that men are terrible.
Yeah, I mean, they're just two guys who are trying to take down the patriarchy by ourselves.
That's right, from the inside. That's right.
We've seen what we're capable of.
Right.
And we're like,
oh no, we must take down the system, baby.
Take it down. But so prior to the landmark case, which is Roe v. Wade, and throughout U.S. history, states banned abortion starting in the 1800s.
So there was no law in the U.S. books about abortions until the 1800s.
Well, no. Actually, so in the 1700s and the 1800s, the word abortion referred only to the termination of a pregnancy after the quickening, as I said, which is the time when the fetus began to make noticeable movements. And
how did they know that back then?
I mean, 1700s is basically modern times. It's basically today in the scheme of things.
Yeah, but were they feeling for the belly to move around?
Yeah. Essentially, they were like...
Because you don't feel that usually until the third trimester. Or so I've heard.
No, yeah, I don't really know the time frame. But so this induced ending of pregnancy before this time didn't even have a name. And not because it was uncommon. Women in the 1700s took drugs all the time to end their unwanted pregnancies.
What do you mean, like cocaine?
They took just over-the-counter weird...
Smoking weed?
Just herbs and spices.
Hey, you party?
Yeah. What do you have?
I got these Bort drugs.
What is it, like cayenne? You got the cayennes?
I got cayenne peppers.
How much?
$2.50 a pepper.
Oh my God, that's highway robbery, man. I mean, there's no highway.
2 pence a pepper.
There's no highway. That's.
Tell you what, I like you. Pence and a half.
Let's do it.
All right.
And will you throw in some cumin?
Yeah. I'll throw it right in there.
Yeah, mix it up.
Yeah.
You got some of that speed quickening?
Free insertion, no insertion fee.
Oh, so you're going to put it in there?
Yeah, I'm a doc.
Oh,
I'm a Bort
You're
doc.
a mockter.
I'm a mockter.
You're
I'm a Bort mockter. A Bort
Bort mockter. I think we've created a new TV show.
Bort mockers.
Doogie Howser, Bort mockter.
TBS, very funny.
Starring Brecken.
It's a comedy.
Starring Brecken Meyer.
Coming this fall to True TV.
Brecken Meyer plays
Bort mockter. It's funny because it's true.
He knocks him up, so he's got to perform the surgery to knock him.
No, you made it crazy.
Oh yeah, no,
he knocks him up and then he sets him up and then he knocks him
down. He sets him up
and then sets him down.
Bort mockter. So in 1827, though, Illinois.
You're like.
I'm out. Breckenmeyer, you don't get the role. Illinois passed a law that made the use of abortion drugs illegal. Although other states followed the Illinois example, they advertised for female monthly pills. Those were still common in the middle of the 19th century. Female monthly pills.
Now, what kind of medicines were considered abortion?
Well, so just whatever pills they were giving them. Bad stuff. But abortion only became a crime. This is where it gets interesting. It only became a crime not because people were outraged by this, but because the doctors formed something called the AMA, the American Medical Association, and they didn't want a bunch of these midwives or whatever performing these surgeries. So that is why.
Oh, what year did the AMA?
1880s. Yeah.
So everything is about money.
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole thing was about making sure they kept unwanted competition out.
Yeah, but then doctors why would they keep them from doing it? Why would they make it so they couldn't do it as well?
I don't think they want. Who wants to do that? They got better things to do.
They probably are like, this is small potatoes.
This isn't a big business.
I want to cut out brains.
Yeah, I don't want I want to do a high level.
I want to save lives.
Yeah, I want to lobotomize people, the good stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So by the turn of the century, all states.
I love that lobotomies were legal, but abortions were not.
No, I mean, yeah, until
drilling in. I'll just take out a piece of his brain because he's cuckoo nutso.
Because he was. Can you imagine how many improvisers would have just been completely lobotomized? Like UCB would be.
There were no comedians.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like if lobotomies were legal now, the entire UCB cottage improv industry would be shot. He's kooky.
We need to operate.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about lobotomies is that they didn't know it. They just we'll cut a piece here.
That piece looks weird.
Frontal lobe.
Yeah, that piece looks odd.
This kid, he doesn't need that.
Yeah. No, my great-grandmother was locked away in a loony bin, they called them back then, for 50 years. And nobody ever even knew she was alive until the 90s, and she broke her arm. And she sent a letter to my grandma's house. And my grandma was away, and my mom read the letter and went to visit a woman she didn't even know was alive.
Wow.
Yeah. And they had her all hopped up on drugs, and it was pretty sad. Jesus. She died shortly thereafter. But yes, so the doctors basically, so by the turn of the century, all states had laws against abortion, but for the most part, they were rarely enforced, and women with money had no problem terminating them.
Sure. Money talks, baby.
Mm-hmm. And so.
Money talks and Bort stay walk.
Do you think people are going to be like, I hated every time you said Bort? Or should we just keep going with it? Because we've already started down the Bort road.
It makes it more tolerable.
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't want to say the full word?
If I talking
the quickening.
We're just talking Borts.
Yeah, we're talking quickenings. It wasn't until the late 30s that the abortion laws were enforced, and subsequent crackdowns led to a reform movement. So the 30s on is sort of where we get to this whole where we're at. You know, basically in the 1930s, whatever, all these laws are passed. There's a lot of abortion laws passed, and then
why do you think? In the 30s.
Well, I think, you know, there was a Catholic element, a big morality push, you know, after like prohibition, all that stuff, you know, big morality push. And then it's not until the 60s that we have, you know, a big push, the feminist movement that puts all this stuff center stage.
Prohibition, pro-abortion.
Prohibition, pro-abortion. I don't think anyone's ever made that connection before.
I did.
You did.
I smart.
Yeah. People are going to go around saying that all the time now. Prohibition, pro-abortion. It probably, you think that was on a bumper sticker?
Mm-mm. They didn't have
bumper stickers.
Well, most people couldn't afford a bumper.
Yeah. So it was just on the car.
Let alone a stickers for it.
So it was just you just write it on the car.
We need to find out when the first bumper sticker was.
Yeah, we're going to have to do an episode about bumper sticker laws.
So imagine how, that's why the population probably boomed.
Yeah.
Get rid of, you had to have it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also that thing so there is a bit of an element in the U.S. and elsewhere. There was a bit of an element of white America saying, have more children. You shouldn't be aborting your children because you want to stay in the majority population wise. So there was that element to it too. There's always been these sort of weird undercurrents.
Do you have a statistic on how many abortions are performed a year?
Ooh. I do have a statistic for that. So up until a couple of years ago, 500,000 to 1 million.
Think about that.
A year.
So think about how that's kept the population down.
Yeah, 500,000 to 1 million a year. But so before we get into the...
Sorry.
You're jumping.
I know. I just was very curious.
You're so far ahead.
Oh, sorry about it.
So what's interesting is we eventually got to the Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade, which, as we all know, is...
So that was in what year?
So 1973, we had the landmark case Roe v. Wade, of course, out of Texas, because that's where a lot of crazy controversy comes.
Only two things come out of Texas.
What, Tony?
Steers and abortion.
Oh, I got you. So what's interesting about Roe is it grew out of Justice Blackmun's argument. He said it grew out of the right to privacy, which grew out of Griswold, which was a case about anti-contraception.
National Lampoons.
Yeah, Griswold. Clark
Griswold, National Lampoons. Family abortion.
Yeah. That case was Clark Griswold. He wanted to have
Rusty.
He wanted to see in an alternate universe where Rusty wanted to have sex in his house in Connecticut, and he wanted to use condoms, but condoms were illegal.
I'm going to make an off-color joke.
Go ahead.
Rusty was the name of the tool that was going to
abort.
Yeah, the
Rusty tool. This episode is going.
Everybody,
we apologize.
I'm sorry because these are a lot of.
It's touchy, thorny.
Sure,
we don't know how to handle
it. And as dudes, we don't fully appreciate how difficult it is.
But we're trying to. Yeah. So Griswold struck down a Connecticut anti-contraception law on the grounds that it intruded on the right to privacy. He basically came up with this idea, Justice Douglas, that there were zones of personal privacy that are fundamental to liberty under a quote-unquote penumbra of guarantees in the Bill of Rights. So privacy was actually never listed. This is interesting. Privacy was never listed as a right in the Bill of Rights. It's not in there anywhere.
You don't have a right to privacy?
So that's the thing. I think you do. You think you do. But it was never listed in there. So the argument goes...
So where did it come in? It's somewhere in the language.
No. So he argued that he sort of fashioned it together through the Fifth Amendment and the 14th Amendment. And so he called it a penumbra. It was like a weaving together of all of these other rights. that essentially give you a sphere of privacy, right? But my personal take has always been the Constitution doesn't give you your rights. Your rights come from nature. They're natural rights of human beings. Privacy is as natural a right as any right that I could think of. So I don't need a piece of paper.
That's why you're not a lawyer anymore.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly
how I feel.
Yeah.
You're like, you're not a good lawyer.
Yeah. No, I do think it's a legitimate argument to say that the Constitution is not where you're granted rights, and it's not supposed to be. The Bill of Rights isn't supposed to be. I think it's a listing of some of your fundamental rights, but just because something's not in there, I don't think that means that, I do or I don't have a right to it.
They made it open for interpretation.
Yeah. So, according to some, it's not open to interpretation. It's just a strict text. The textual originalists say this is what it says. This is what it is. Conservatives. So they would say there was no right to privacy. Therefore, there is no right to privacy. Therefore, there's no right to abortion. So that's sort of where the argument goes. There was no right to it anywhere, and you kind of pulled this out of thin air. Now, I submit that it's privacy is definitely a fundamental right, and therefore, if this is an extension of that privacy right, then I think it should be protected. But so the Roe test, they came up with this 3-part test. The first tier was the first trimester. They said during this period, the state can only impose basic health safeguards, right? Like qualified health professional, blah, blah, blah. Second tier, during the second trimester, the state could only do it to protect the health of the mother. So it had to be like health-based tests. And then the third trimester basically said that the state has an interest in protecting a potential life. So that was where they said, no, now we have an interest in protecting them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, very controversial case, but it protected abortion rights. Women didn't have to go to Mexico anymore to get.
A lot of women died because of going elsewhere.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's really horrifying. Actually, I was considering whether we should even do this or not. Should we just make up our own stories instead of me reading the really graphic ones? Let's make up stories of.
How is that any better? That's terrible.
Is that terrible? Should I read some of the ones? I mean, because
why don't you just give us the gist? You don't have to get into too much detail, but what do you mean? Like things that these doctors in other countries would do?
Yeah, like how horrifying it was.
We know about that because of that terrible joke I made, but people using like coat hangers.
And, it was nasty. It was also super expensive.
Which has become kind of like a joke, but actually people did that.
Yeah, and a lot of people died doing that. So it was really unsafe and scary.
Like bleeding internally.
Can you imagine if men had to go and do any of this stuff?
Abortions would have never been illegal if men had babies in their balls.
Listen, if I had to do anything that required like even the slightest amount of pain to my testicles to make something come out.
Yeah, when I had a kidney stone and I felt like I was dying, all I was like, get it out of me! Get it out of me! And every guy would buckle to their knees and not want to have the miracle of life.
It's horrifying. I mean, it seems really terrible. So where were we? We were talking about Roe v. Wade, right? So then for about 15 years or so, everything was all well and good. And the High Court struck down laws that were trying to regulate abortion.
The High Court has struck down aborts.
Yeah, they struck down the abort laws. And then finally, there was a bit of a crack in this sort of what we had was, sort of like a ironclad protections for a while. And then in 90, there was a case called Casey that changed that said that
a case called Casey.
A case called Casey. Yeah. Casey was the name of the case. A landmark case. Casey.
Say Planned case Parenthood, one more time.
Planned Parenthood versus Casey. They basically reversed their ruling a little bit, saying that any state involvement, now they changed the requirement. As long as the states don't create an undue burden, that they changed the standard. Now the states sort of had more leeway.
They were trying to make it more difficult.
Yeah. More difficult.
Still legal, but they were able to put restrictions on getting parental consent.
Yeah. So all these crazy BS laws came into place. Like Texas right now is ground zero for like the ridiculous things that you have to do to go get
We should probably say that I think most of the opposition came from the religious right.
Absolutely. And it doesn't even make any sense. Like the AMA, well, it's actually kind of ironic. So the AMA, who originally pushed for abortion restrictions just to protect their professional licenses, are now, all the doctors a lot of the times are going, what are you doing? Why are you making it so difficult to have an abortion?
Yeah, because now there's a good bazillion doctors and everybody wants to make a living.
Yeah. But also, so they're like, one of the ones in Texas is like, oh, you have to have admitting privileges to a hospital. Like somebody who works at the clinic has to have admitting privileges to the hospital, and most abortion clinics don't have that. So there's no abortion clinics for hundreds of miles.
Up until I think recently there was a challenge to it. Weren't they thinking about trying to overturn it?
Yeah. Well, so now people are scared because there's a new Supreme Court justice, Neil Gorsuch, and he wrote a thesis about denouncing assisted suicide and the importance of protecting life. So people seem to think that
I see
abortion rights are in big trouble.
So for it to be overturned, a new case would have to present itself.
Right. So there was an interesting case that just came up that wasn't necessarily specifically about whether abortion is legal or illegal, but did you see there was a case of the undocumented illegal immigrant who got pregnant and wanted to have an abortion? This was like the perfect storm for this era and this presidency.
Oh, boy.
And so the government tried to stop this poor girl from having an abortion, but she ended up having one anyway after another court reversed that lower court's decision to stop her from having an abortion. Then she had one, so the Supreme Court never got to hear it. But they're still trying to sue to get the ruling that she shouldn't have been allowed to have it, like even after the baby's been boarded.
She just was like, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, they said, let us know. The other side was like, so you better let us know if she's gonna have an abortion on the 26th, and then she had one on the 25th.
Right.
Yeah, good for her.
Oh, yeah, we'll tell you. Sure. Yeah, we'll tell you.
Yeah, so you're going to let us know if you're going to have, because we don't want you to have
this thing you said I can't do.
Yeah, so you're going to tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Can we come with you?
Yeah, meet me on the 26th.
Yeah, so you're going to do it on the 26th.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
Go, son.
Okay, yeah. So it's the 26th, so when
all
are we
done. Save me the trip, baby.
Save me the trip.
I'm a
I told you not to do
woman.
this. You can't do this.
I'm a woman.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what happened. So yeah, I mean, it's scary because Gorsuch, we don't know what his views are. He's literally never ruled on an abortion case. So we have no idea.
He probably shouldn't ever.
Yeah, well, it's going to come up, unfortunately. But there's some crazy proposals in Texas. I wanted to just
give me
list
some
a couple.
of these.
Yeah.
Shoot some of these at me.
So
Shoot
here's
me
one.
some info.
House Bill 948, the Abolition of Abortion in Texas Act. This one is pretty straightforward. He seeks to outlaw abortion, and he says the bill will force women to be more personally responsible. So that's one that just says, hey, abortion gone.
Now, states can pass these laws?
Well, they can pass them, but then they're going to get challenged, right? So that's where.
So their hope is to pass these laws so it gets challenged, so then it overturns.
Right, exactly. This is an interesting one. Senate Bill 25 prevents parents from suing doctors if their baby's born with a birth defect. The senator who introduced the bill said it's going to promote an environment where the best physicians will want to practice medicine in Texas. This is a little confusing. What it means for abortion rights. Opponents of the bill worry it'll lead doctors to withhold information from parents about a fetus's potential disability.
Well, they draw that fluid to do a screening to see if the kid has Down syndrome.
Right.
And they could lie about it?
I guess. Democratic Senator Rodriguez told the Texas Tribune that the bill seems to be about restricting and further limiting a woman's right to exercise her choice about what she's going to do in the case of serious defects to a fetus.
Yeah, but if they lied, then they'd be set up for a lawsuit.
Oh, here's the messed up one. This is the Mike Pence one. Much like the bill that Pence in Indiana, SB 258, this was the craziest one, requiring fetal remains to be cremated or buried.
An unborn child's remains.
Yeah.
So, like, even if it's a few weeks.
No. yeah, a few weeks old fetus. Right. Yeah. Like literally something the size of a pea. They wanted to require them to have a cremation or a burial. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here to celebrate the life of
Baby X.
Baby X. And we have his father here to say a few words. Mr. Sam, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, before you in this thimble-sized container is the remains of my unborn child. I don't know the gender.
Tell us an anecdote about his life.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll never forget the day I saw a blurry photograph and the doctor said, I don't know yet. I don't know. It could be a boy, it could be a girl. I don't know yet. It's basically just a blob right now. But good for you, he said.
Would you like to throw the first speck of dirt on the speck of dirt?
I was just going to toss it.
I mean, it's really small.
I was just going to toss it.
Yeah, it's pretty small. You could probably just...
Going to just get rid of it.
Probably just flush it.
Just give it get it out of here.
Just get it out of here. I mean, it's so crazy.
That's ridiculous.
It's so crazy. And the thing is that I don't want to sound like...
And the law was made to make people feel bad.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? A lot of these laws, like, hey, the law requiring you to see, you have to see the sonogram. There are laws on the books requiring you to see the sonogram. That's
like shoving your nose in your well, it's not a mistake. It was a very hard choice, right? Nobody, I haven't met anyone, well, I haven't met anyone yet, but who looked at abortion like it was nothing.
No.
It's a very hard choice.
Well, I think the problem is too, right? So, and I don't want us to sound callous to life too. It is... Right. It's like, okay, yes. Yeah, so you conceive you're creating a life. And I think that, on some level, it's a very difficult. So who's to say when that, that life is a viable entity?
Well, I don't know if you people know what Matt or I look like, but we shouldn't be creating anything.
No, we should not be. I was on my honeymoon and my wife, I said, we're in the cradle of man. We should create a child. And she was like,
she threw up on you.
She threw up and
she'd been drinking.
Yeah, no, it was just from,
you just made her sick.
Just from the thought of procreating with me. But this is another crazy bill. Texas Bill Joint 121, life at conception. It would expand the definition of citizen of the state to include the phrase, each member of the species Homo sapien at all stages of life, including the moment of fertilization or other moment at which an individual member of the human species come into being.
Huh?
Yeah. What the hell?
Nobody knows what they're talking about.
No.
That's stupid.
Yeah. It's very stupid. Like anytime you're putting Homo sapien into a bill, you should probably go, I'm obviously doing something nefarious.
Yeah, that's pretty broad.
I'm obviously doing something pretty nefarious here. Each member of the species Homo sapien at all stages of life. Which goes back to the, okay, so what about the stage of life of when it's just in my satchel?
In your ball bag.
Yeah, in my ball bag.
Well, it's not a person. It's
not a life.
It's just this thing with a tail.
Could be.
It's this highly motile.
Motile. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I thought I understand the desire to protect unborn life, but it's also like, hey, let's just balance these two things out, right? There are people who are like, nah, don't even give abortions. Remember when Zika was a big scare? Yeah. And they were like, nah, we wouldn't even budge on Zika. Like you would let somebody carry to term a 9 month, it's not brain dead. It's a zombie.
Yeah.
A zombie.
Well, also, in cases of rape.
Yeah. Rape babies is a thing.
That's tough.
That's gotta be hard.
But I thought women it was very difficult for them to get rid of it.
You mean emotionally?
No, are they allowed to?
Well, I mean, after a certain point in time, you're not allowed to have an abortion. A lot of states, it's 20 weeks, 24 weeks.
Third trimester.
Yeah, third trimester. I mean, there's an overview of the 41 states require an abortion be performed by a physician. 20 states have a law that ban partial birth abortion. I don't even want to know what that is.
Partial birth?
That doesn't sound like a pleasant thing. That's when they do weird stuff to get it out.
It's like an arm and a leg.
It's gross. It's definitely gross. 27 states require a woman to wait at least 24 hours. And 14 states effectively require the woman to make 2 separate trips to the clinic. Yeah. I'm just throwing out random stats.
You know what that means? Road trip.
Road trip. You think there's a movie about 2 women on the way to the clinic?
That was so terrible. Road trip.
Yeah, there should be a movie about two gals.
Look, there's
trip.
Probably jokes we can make there, but then
we already crossed the Rubicon.
I feel like we have.
We already crossed.
That one though made me feel bad.
Yeah, she's a lawyer. But she made one mistake, so this
is one case she can't win.
Instead, she's bringing her best friend along for the ride because she knows her clinics.
What?
I don't know. One friend who's had many abortions.
She knows her way around the border,
too. She knows her way around, and they're on a trip of a lifetime.
You've seen that movie Fight Club?
Yeah.
There's a line in that movie which is pretty... It's like left field, but she goes, "I want to have your abortion." Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, she's dark.
I want to have your abortion.
While they're doing it, she says that?
Yeah.
That's hot, dirty talk.
Yeah.
That's filthy talk.
That's pretty...
That's weird that's the one line that Tony quotes from that movie.
Because it stands out.
Most people go, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" "Oh, Fight Club." "Oh, yeah. First rule of Fight Club.
Do not
talk about Fight Club." You ask Tony Sam, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" "Fight Club." "Oh yeah, why?" Because of that line about
I want to have your abortion.
He's like, you ask him about, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" "The Terminator." He's like, "Hey, remember that line that Edward Furlong said?"
I'll be bored.
No, Edward Furlong said.
Oh,
what did it? I don't remember what Edward Furlong. I don't remember any of his lines from the movie. But you like the obscure lines from the secondary characters.
Hasta la vista, Bordy.
Yeah. Oh, we've gotten off into a weird.
Where were you taking us?
I was taking us that. So these laws that are now being passed, they're all blatantly trying to make it impossible to get an abortion. They're not for the health of the woman. And that was sort of the original, after Casey, there was the original notion was, hey, they're going to pass these laws that are going to protect the health of the woman. But now all these laws are basically just trying to make it so that it's impossible to go to an abortion clinic or even open an abortion clinic. Like the state of Missouri, Mississippi only have one abortion clinic? Holy cow.
In the whole state?
Yeah, holy cow. Kentucky only has 2. West Virginia only has 2.
Boy, take a number.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, this is kind of fun. All right. Ready? We're going to play over-under. Does North Dakota have more or less than 3 abortion clinics?
North Dakota?
Mm-hmm.
Less.
Yeah, they have 1. Does South Dakota have more or less than 2 abortion clinics?
Less.
Yeah, they have 1. Does Utah have more or less than 3 abortion clinics?
Less.
They have 2. Does Wisconsin have more or less than 5 abortion clinics?
More.
Less. 4.
We're just playing less here.
Yeah. Does California have more or less than 150 abortion clinics?
More. We got them all.
We're so greedy.
No, we're helpful.
Oh, we're helpful.
We're a helpful people.
We're hoarding them.
Yeah.
We're hoarding these clinics.
We are a helpful people.
Yeah, no, we're a very helpful people. That's a big number. We're throwing up a big number.
That's a lot. I bet Illinois has a lot too.
Not really. 24.
That's it?
Yeah. New York's got 95. This was as of 2014. Florida has 71.
Oof. Boy.
You know, Nevada has a surprisingly low number, only 8.
They're all in Vegas.
I would have thought there was
They're
at
all in
least
the
8.
Vegas Strip.
I would have thought each hotel would come with their own different one. You know,
which clinic would you like to visit? The Aria or the MGM?
Well, you know, I heard that is that the one with the nice fountain?
Well, you got to sit through a Copperfield show
to get an abortion.
Actually, Copperfield makes it disappear.
Copperfield, that's how they do it there.
Yeah, that's right. It's part of the show. He picks one lucky lady.
He goes, "Is there anyone in the audience who's had a quickening?"
Are you missing something?
My baby's gone.
Is this yours?
I don't know. I can't tell.
I know. It's just
it's just a little tiny thing.
We are terrible.
Yeah. Wait. So the high end, the Treasure Island one, it's like the pirates steals it.
How circus. That would be the grossest. That would be like going to Mexico.
Yeah, the circus one. Then like the old strip hotels.
Terribles.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like that's on like the 15.
Yeah.
Way out of town.
Yeah. The Fremont, the Golden
Just
Nugget.
over the border.
The Golden Nugget Clinic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The Wynn would be a really nice clinic. The Wynn would have a great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? It's like a mani-pedi.
You get the buffet included.
Yeah, the buffet. Oh,
buffet.
You do the buffet first, then you do a mani-pedi boardy.
A mani-pedi boardy.
Mani-pedi boardy. Oh my God.
Oh my.
This was the podcast that ended 2 careers.
That already were DOA. We boarded our own careers. This is about we boarded our careers.
Yeah. So I mean, these places, it's impossible. It's impossible to basically get an abortion.
Well,
they've made it impossible,
honestly,
and they're pushing further. They're encroaching further. They're making it harder and harder.
I think, you know,
they passed a law. They passed laws in Texas, Louisiana, and Indiana requiring women to pay to bury or cremate.
This is basic. This is a basic human right. It's your body.
But this is what I'm saying to you. See, now you agree with me. Basic human rights don't have to come from the Constitution.
That's right. No one should tell you what you can or can't do to yourself.
What about drugs? Can you take then? That's the argument, right? So the argument goes, hey, nobody can tell you what you can do or can't do. Oh, well, then shouldn't everybody be allowed to take drugs?
This is like we're getting down the libertarian road.
Right. Well, actually, I always thought that people who are for gun ownership should be for abortion rights. Right?
True.
It's right? Like libertarian.
Don't tell me what I can do with my guns.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't tell me what I can do or can't do inside my own home.
It's social freedoms, but fiscally conservative. Is that libertarian? I don't know. All I'm saying is just let people do what they want to do. Yeah. We'll sort it all out later.
Oh, you know what's interesting? This is a little weird side note is Susan B. Anthony's name has gotten caught up in this whole mix because all of these right to life organizations name themselves after Susan B. Anthony.
You know what the B stood for?
Bordy.
Susan
Bordy Anthony. So they tried to claim her, even though she's, one of the biggest feminists ever and on the dollar coin.
Well, one of the dollar coins.
Are there other people on the other dollar coins?
Eisenhower.
He's on the dollar coin? I thought it was called the Susan B. Anthony coin.
Well, Sacagawea
is the other one. Dwight Eisenhower's on it too? You
never saw those giant silver dollars?
He horned in on Susan B. Anthony's coin? What a lecherous bastard.
He had the silver dollar before she got a silver
dollar. So they split it. They went splitsies on it.
Right. So the Susan B. Anthony's didn't come around until like the 70s.
Yeah.
But the Eisenhower $50, I think, were introduced not that long after his presidency. They really liked him.
They jammed those coins right out. I like Ike. Mike and Ike's are named after him too, right? Who's Mike?
I don't know.
Mike Eisenhower, his brother.
Right. Hey, he liked candy.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway here?
But before we get to that, so Susan B. Anthony, all these pro-lifers decided that for whatever reason that she was pro-life, and now there's been all this scholarly disagreement. It's basically like this woman who did a study on it said she never voiced an opinion about the sanctity of fetal life, and she never voiced an opinion about using the state to require pregnancies to be brought to term.
She was for women's suffrage.
Yeah. So it's so ludicrous that they're using Susan B. Anthony to...
And even if she was pro-life, who gives a shit?
Who does give a shit?
Right? Okay, great.
Yeah, they're
she's been dead for a long time.
Yeah. We don't have to, we're not beholden to...
right, but she said...
But Susan B. It's like the same thing where it's like, we're a Republican, we're the party of Lincoln.
Right, it was a much different party.
Right,
they were the Democrat.
Right, and also it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's hundreds of years ago. Who cares?
That's right. They're trying to say that she was an advocate for women's rights, but that was the one thing she wouldn't bend on. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
She's dead now.
So the takeaway is
The big takeaway
is that throughout time, abortion was done. It wasn't legal or illegal. It was just done. It's just always been a part of life.
It's been practiced.
It's just been practiced. It's just been borts have been bort will bort.
But it's only been until recently that idealism has tried to stick its dick where it don't belong.
But it's also that there is a clear line here for how it came to be, right? It was the AMA wanted to protect their license, and then the religious right got their hands on it, and now you see more and more of the religious right pushing this and pushing this and pushing this, and basically using every angle they can of sort of the vagaries of the Supreme Court ruling.
We need a separation of church and taste.
What would that be like?
I don't know.
So the church can't get involved with any of our food options?
No foods.
Yeah. So the church can't comment on any restaurants.
That's right.
Yeah. I like that.
I don't know.
The takeaway is it drives. It's such a wedge issue. It's a huge issue in this country. There are a lot. Listen, I understand. It's difficult. I mean, you want to protect life, but it's such a difficult decision for people. It's crazy for me to think that you need to tell somebody.
Right. It's already tough. Don't make it hard enough.
Why are we making it so hard for people?
Especially when it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Get your hands off my gun. Fine, then get your hands off of my insides.
Hey, is there anything you want to plug?
Oh, God, I want to plug my... Oh, you're talking about shows.
Yeah.
I want to plug my Twitter, Matt Ritter 1.
Ooh.
Because I tweet sometimes.
There's other Matt Ritters. He's the first.
Yeah, I tweet. I'm the first of a long line. When I have a son...
Of tweeters.
His handle's going to be Matt Ritter the second.
Matt Twitter.
Yeah. Oh...
That would have been
Should
good.
I change that? Yeah. I should change it right
My
now.
Twitter is at TOEKNEESAM. And please check out my comedy album, Scaredy Cat, which is available on iTunes.
It's hilarious.
And wherever fine comedy albums are sold.
And can you guys go on iTunes and review this podcast?
Yes, please go to iTunes, look up Legally Insane. Well, you already know where it is, but please give us a review. Let us know what you think.
Okay.
As long as it's a 5-star review.
Yeah, it's got to be 5 or 4.5.
That's right. Well, we'll see you next time
on Legally